I have got to talk about this whole thing with Donald Trump and his potty mouth. I wrote a story in City Journal, an article in City Journal. It's been getting a lot of press. You can go on and look on it. Go to cityjournal.org, I think it is. One of the best magazines in the country, no question about it. And you can get almost everything they have online, even though you should subscribe, but you can get everything they have online. And take a look at this article, because I really feel I'm a polite person. I don't go around and say to people, oh, your country's a hellhole or whatever. And sometimes Donald Trump offends me with his impoliteness. But I think that weirdly, maybe even in spite of himself, he is doing God's work. And I will explain to you what I mean. The culture, the right is really bad about understanding the culture. If you watch Paul Ryan, he thinks if he stands up in front of a chart with a stick, people go, I see, when you cut taxes, then businesses get more money, there are more jobs and profits, and everybody's boat, all ships are lifted. That's not what happens. What the left does is it simply creates a web of silence through using our good manners. And because we are people with good manners, we don't like to feel that people are offended by what we say. We don't like to feel that people are hurt, their feelings are hurt. We're nice people, right? All of us, most people are nice people. They don't want to, and this entraps us when they establish what is nice, when they have the power through Hollywood, through the news media, through the academy. They have the power to establish what the manners are, right? So Donald Trump is in a meeting. He's talking with Democrats and Republicans, and he says in an offhanded way, why do we have people coming in from all these hellholes of countries? And he doesn't use the word hellhole. On CNN, they've been repeating the curse word over and over again, even though they never did that to Obama, who also cursed behind the scenes, as all men tend to do. They curse in closed door meetings. So Trump cursed. So the CNN is repeating this over and over again. So you know what the word is. I don't have to repeat it. Why are we letting in all these people from hellholes? Why don't we have people from Norway? Now, the thing is, we do not know this happened. Dick Durbin said it. Dick Durbin lies. Dick Durbin, and also, what kind of a weasel, a little tattletale weasel goes running to the press? The president cursed. The president cursed. So here is the press. And remember, the press is just the information arm of the Democrat Party. That's all it is. They are not journalists. They're not the First Amendment made flesh. They are the information arm of the Democrat Party. That's who there is. There's not one managing person at any network. I would almost bet all my money on it. There's not one who decides which stories go on the news who voted for Donald Trump. Not one. That means they're all Democrats. They're all on one side. And you only have to follow them to see what it is. But let's take a look at the way the media, the balanced, restrained way the media reacted to this remark made behind closed doors in a meeting. So this is, number 9.
The president is a white supremacist. We heard in Charlottesville, our president is a terrorist sympathizer, and our president is a clear and present danger to non-white people in America.
If you are working inside the White House and your goal is to try to prove that this is a rational, sane president, that this is not a president who's lost his step mentally, if this is not a president in the early stages of dementia, that can't control some of the things that he blurts out of his mouth.
Wow. Sir, they're not whole countries. For one, Donald Trump isn't their president.
And now if we take this additional, very clear racist thing, he's an evil man. We don't talk about that a lot. We talk about he's insane and he's crazy and he's this. That's evil.
I'm not surprised at all, to be honest with you. A lot of this has been rooted in white supremacy and racism since the very beginning.
Because we now know that we have in the White House someone who could lead the Ku Klux Klan in the United States of America, somebody who could be the leader of the neo-Nazi. And
so if you don't think this stuff is powerful, okay, and I frequently compare Donald Trump to Randall Patrick McMurphy, who comes into this insane asylum where the rules seem to be of benefit to all, and Nurse Ratched seems to be the mother of everybody, and she's taking care of everybody, but it really creates a mental prison. And because Randall Patrick McMurphy in the novel and in the Jack Nicholson film, because he's a loudmouth, because he's a thug, because he's not a nice guy, he breaks that mental prison. He breaks through that mental prison. And I think Donald Trump does that, whether we agree with what he said or not. But if you don't think this thing is powerful, I know I've used this example before, but it really is important because it's happening all over Europe. Between, I think it was 1997, I'm talking off the top of my head, but it's 1997 to 2013, somewhere in there, the early 2000s. At a conservative estimate, 1,400 little girls were raped by Pakistani Muslim immigrants in England in a city called Rotherham. They were raped, and they were bred to rape, and they were enslaved essentially. And they were complaining to the police, and they were complaining to the council, and everybody knew it was happening. These are little girls as young as 11 years old being raped by these monsters. And nobody wanted to say anything because nobody wanted to be called racist, because it's as much as your career is worth to be called racist. And it's also just, it's uncomfortable. It's a horrible thing to say about anybody. We got it. We got it. Racism is bad. So nobody wants to be tarred with that brush. Nobody wants to be called these names, right? And so that's how powerful this is. And the problem that we have is every time somebody says something that the left doesn't like, just facts, that black people commit proportionately more crime, that Muslims commit most of the terrorism in the world, that women and men are different, and maybe that's why that accounts for the disparities in their careers and their pay. Maybe women don't actually care about careers the way men care about careers. Maybe they shouldn't care about careers. Maybe they have something more important to do than a career. Anytime you say this, you're accused of some form of bigotry, and you can't say anything. And the thing is, once you get accused, you start to argue on their terms, and this is how they win. Okay, this is the point that I'm trying to get to, is the minute they make the accusation, you have to say, well, it's not racist because of this. It's not racist because of that. This is more racist. That's more racist. And instead of saying, wait a minute, I reject the entire terms of the argument. In Trump's case, let's just take Trump's case for a minute. Let's pretend that he said what he said. We don't even know that he said it, but there's some confirmation. We're just not sure. But let's pretend he said it. I'll pretend. Let's say he says Haiti and African countries are hellholes, and why don't we have more people from Norway? The leftist contention is that is inherently racist because the people in Haiti and African countries are black and the people in Norway are white. Okay, now I get attacked from the left and the right on this. Okay, the right wing, because I don't believe in racism. I believe racism is a scam. I believe the theory of racism is wrong in and of itself. Okay, no. They are saying that because the people in Norway are white and their country is nicer than Haiti, it obviously is, and because the people in Haiti are black and the country is a hellhole, which it obviously is, that this is a racist statement. Now, there's only two possibilities here. One is that race matters. One is that the race you were born with, the way you look, matters. And if that is true, then we have the right to defend our race in a tribal way, to be supremacists. Whether you're black or brown or Asian or white, whatever you are, you have the right. If race is what matters about us, if race is the thing that we care about each other, then we have the right to fight for our race. And when the white supremacists, the Nazis, come out and they say, well, we're going to fight for our race, that if racism matters, if racism is true in any way, then they have a perfectly valid point of view. That's why they keep attacking me. That's why the Nazis keep writing me and saying they put my name in parentheses. That's their way of, isn't that their way of calling you a Jew? It's like, I can't even respond to that because I don't use the kind of language that we're talking about. But that's the way the right attacks. But the left does it too, right? They say, well, because Haiti is black and because Norway is white, to say Haiti is a nicer country, to say Norway is a nicer country than Haiti, which it obviously is inherently racist. The other way of looking at this is that race doesn't matter at all. And this is, to me, the only, if you are a believer in the Bible, and I am a believer in the Bible, this is the only possible way to look at it. The Bible says that man is created in God's image, and it doesn't say man like male, it says man and woman, right? Men and women are created in God's image. If you don't like the way somebody is made, it's not what somebody has become, not what they've made of themselves, not what the world has turned them into. But if you don't like the way somebody is made, then you are insulting the image of God. Good luck to you. Just don't stand too close to me, because when the lightning hits, I want to be in the next block. Okay, that's fine. But that is where I stand. Where I stand is that, look, and what people keep sending me, these right-wingers, fascists keep sending me, is they keep sending me stuff saying, well, look at IQ levels and look at this country and look at that country. Look, I'm not a scientist, and neither are you. I mean, just compiling, but we don't even know how long it takes to change the IQ of people. I suspect it's probably one generation. One generation. What we are talking about is we're talking about ideas, right? When I talk about Islam, I don't care whether the person who believes in Islam is Cat Stevens or Muhammad. I don't care. I think the ideas in Islam are not right. I think they are incorrect ideas about God. I think they are incorrect ideas about revelation. I think they're incorrect ideas about women. I think their ideas are wrong. So when I attack Islam, and I don't attack Islam when I criticize Islam, I'm not criticizing the race of the people. I'm criticizing the ideas. When I look at Haiti, I'm looking at corruption. I'm looking at some of it, by the way, by perfectly white people like Bill Clinton. You know, I'm looking at corruption. I'm looking at bad governance. I'm looking at bad ideas. When I look at Britain, for instance, during the Victorian age, I can safely say that the ideas of the British in the Victorian age were better than the ideas of people in Haiti governing Haiti today. I can say that because I can look at the result. When I look at Islam, I don't have to tell you about the fact that I don't have to say, oh, there are plenty of nice Islamic people. Of course there are. But when I look at places where Islam rules, the countries are worse than other countries. You know, they're more unequal, they're more violent, they're more impoverished. There's something about this that doesn't bring the human dignity that Christianity brings. And so if we're arguing about ideas, and it's hard to do this, then what are the people who point to race trying to do? They're trying to keep from talking about ideas. They're trying to stop you from talking about ideas. Why? Why are leftists trying to keep you from talking about ideas? And why is it only leftists? Well, I'll get to that. That's the next thing I want to talk about. It's only leftists who try to silence people. And this is the important thing. Let us just for a minute think about the fact that only the left shuts down ideas. No, you cannot name an important person on the right who wants to silence left-wingers. It is only they who shout racist. It's only they who Twitter is shadow banning conservatives. It ain't shadow banning liberals. Why is that? Why is that? Why don't they shadow ban liberals? Only conservatives. Google is now being sued by Dennis Prager, an honest man, if ever there was one, is suing them because on YouTube they demonetize his Prager University videos that are the most rational, straightforward explanation of conservative ideas. They did it to Knowles the other day. Knowles did a video. They demonetized that. Why? Why are they doing it? Why did they have to fire James Damore when he said, hey, you know what? Women may have different sensibilities and different desires and different capabilities and may not be as good at tech or as committed to tech as men are. They had to fire him. Why? Why did they silence ideas and we don't? You know, Ben goes and gives a speech. Rioters show up. You know, 5'9" Ben Shapiro shows up, and they show up with clubs. You know, Charles Murray, another. I mean, these are intellectual guys of goodwill. Christina Hofsummers. They meet violence when they go to campuses. Why? Why? It's because their ideas are wrong, and they have to keep them in place because they benefit from them. They get power, and they get money from them, so they benefit from them. They keep their ideas in place by this incredible, elaborate system of manners where it is impolite to speak the truth. It is so impolite to speak the truth that in England and other countries in Europe, they allowed little children to be raped. The police, and we know what the police are like, they hate this stuff, they hate crime, they allowed it to go on because they were so afraid of violating this system of manners. And so when Donald Trump comes along, who's a rude guy, he's a boor, you know, he's a guy who comes out of Queens with his business, he sits around on construction sites and he talks to people in the way that he talks. When he does that, you know, a guy like me who's kind of courtly and kind of has good manners may recoil, but that's what it sometimes takes to break the chains, the mental chains. That's what it takes to put Nurse Ratched in her place. And when I say Nurse Ratched, I mean the New York Times, I mean CNN with all those weepy little guys. What the hell are they weeping about? Why is that news to watch those guys' lips tremble? It's just to make you feel an emotion about one thing, but not about another. A little Syrian boy dies in the sand. It's heartbreaking, but it's no more heartbreaking than Planned Parenthood ripping children out of their mother's wombs and selling the body parts. That's also heartbreaking. Why aren't CNN's lips trembling about that? It is all emotional manipulation. And because Trump is kind of a bore and because he's kind of a blockhead, he breaks through that. And that is he's doing God's work. You know, I was just talking backstage to Knowles and Jay, and I was saying that I had just finished rereading the biblical story of David and what a terrible guy he was. He was a warlord, you know, what a rough tumble murdering, you know, slaughtering guy he was. But that's what it took to get the job done. Trump is not that. He's just a little bit rude, but this is what it takes to get the job done and turn back the tide of government overreach.